choreography will be as follows. We will have introductory remarks from our 3 European principals, our 3 Indian principals, after which we will open the floor for a brief round of questions. So we will begin with EVP Virkkunen. EVP, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much and good afternoon, everybody. Today we held our 3rd Trade and Technology Council with India. Since 2023, the EU and India have been working together across key areas of trade and technology. We have become key partners for one another, working together across strategic technologies, digital governance and connectivity. And more than ever, we are seeing the importance of our strategic partnership, whether that be for technology, trade or security. We are reinforcing our tech sovereignty in a way that is grounded in openness, partnerships and fair competition. And this meeting allows us to put this principle into action. The EU and India are moving from dialogue to practical cooperation with concrete follow-up actions across a wide range of topics, from AI to semiconductors to quantum, digital skills, trust services and 6G. India hosted this year's AI Impact Summit in New Delhi. At this summit, nations came together in a declaration to recognize that AI's promise can only truly be delivered when its benefits are shared by humanity, reaffirming our commitment to strong partnerships on AI. But our cooperation goes beyond artificial intelligence. For instance, our recent tech sovereignty package recognized the importance of semiconductors. We know that semiconductors, they travel the world on their manufacturing journey. And this is why we will work with India towards a practical framework on supply chain early warning and strengthen mutually beneficial collaboration in research and development and capacity building in the semiconductor sector. Talent is another key priority as identified in our AI Continent Action Plan. Earlier this year, we welcomed the launch of European Legal Gateway Office pilot in India, which supports mobility and information for workers, starting with the ICT sector. It's now fully operational. We hope to continue to support mobility of the skills professionals. And looking ahead to other areas, the EU and India will intensify coordination on next-generation telecoms, again, technology that is very crucial for our shared competitiveness in a rapidly evolving landscape. And we will continue to see closer alignment on global interoperable standards, including 6G. And we will build on the administrative agreement on advanced electronic signatures and seals from January this year, so that we work towards interoperable and mutually recognized digital trust services, including digital wallets, making it even easier to work with another. So our message today is very simple. The EU and India, they are strengthening our forward-looking technology partnership that delivers practical benefits for our citizens, businesses and our economies. I will leave it to Commissioners Saharieva and Shevkovich and the Indian ministers to comment on the progress made in the areas of green and clean technology, and as well as trade, investment and resilient value chains. But overall, the Trade and Technology Council meeting underlined the growing ambition of the EU-India strategic partnerships. The emphasis now is on delivery. Ministers and commissioners have tasked the 3 TTC working groups now to take forward these actions as a priority and report regularly on progress.
Many thanks, EVP. The next intervention is from Minister Jaishankar. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. As you have just heard, we've had a very productive meeting of the Trade and Technology Council. And you will see that from a joint statement that we would be releasing at the end of our meeting. The international economy, which is the larger context in which we are meeting, today faces a number of critical and interlinked challenges. There are concerns about over-dependence on limited sources of production, as well as volatility of market access. These solutions lie in de-risking through more diversified production and ensuring predictable markets. When we speak about a multipolar world, it is essential to recognize the economic and technological value of multipolarity. Strengthening resilience of supply chains is today clearly a global priority. Then there is the question of establishing trusted partnerships. We are witnessing multiple distortions that reflect non-market practices, subsidies, and gaming the global trading system. As open societies and as market economies, India and the EU have a natural affinity. The rule of law and the sanctity of contracts are central to our thinking. When it comes to sensitive technologies, this is all the more important. The fact is that emerging technologies literally hold the potential to shape our lifestyle and future. India and the European Union have developed this trust with each other and now strive to take that into the business and technology domains. The third aspect of our discussions relates to exchanges and mobility of talents and skills, as you've just heard again. This is invaluable when it comes to development of technology. To a considerable degree, there is a trust factor at work here as well. Such mobility is strengthened by joint research, academic projects, and other forms of collaboration. Deep tech startup partnerships hold great promise in this regard. We will be starting negotiations for India's association with the Horizon Europe program. It is also worth noting that joint research calls in areas like waste to green hydrogen, combating marine pollution, and EV battery recycling are now at a pilot scale validation and will hopefully go beyond. Today we also agreed to establish the first innovation hub on EV charging infrastructure standards. This third TTC meeting also breaks new ground by holding a business roundtable in parallel. That has been a good experience and we hope to continue it. And I would request my colleagues who will speak, my ministerial colleagues who will speak after me, to share their thoughts on the particular working groups that they oversee. So let me conclude by saying that the India-EU partnership is today poised to reach greater heights. The free trade agreement, the security and defense partnership, and the mobility framework have been its key achievements this year. The potential of our ties will be realized through the implementation of the joint comprehensive strategic agenda. The TTC plays a notable role in that regard, and I'm confident that today's meeting will take that agenda forward. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, EVP. Next, I call on our trade supremos to say a few words, starting with Commissioner Šefčovič.
Good afternoon. I also would like to compliment the introductory remarks by my colleagues EVP Virkkunen and Foreign Minister Jaishankar. And I think that we clearly all agree that, especially at the time where the global economies face unprecedented challenges, our commitment to work together, strengthen our collective resilience, but also readiness to navigate these unpredictable global shifts. The outcome of our work on trade, investment and resilient value chains is a clear example of our shared commitment to advance on resilience value chains, on market access, on multilateral trade efforts, but also on decarbonization. Our discussion this morning focused as well on resolving market access issues, and we also spend the time on discussing the need for reform of World Trade Organization, but also how important it is to respect multilateral trade rules. My very good friend and colleague, Minister Piyush Goyal, and I, we also managed to have the bilateral meeting this morning, and we discussed the progress of the work leading to the swift ratification of free trade agreement that we finalized at the EU-India summit, and that we both see it in the same way, that EU-India free trade agreement is indeed a game changer. We are creating a market of almost 2 billion people. The FTA opens the door to tremendous opportunities because it will establish a secure and stable commercial framework that will help us to mitigate the risks associated with the current geopolitical volatility. Coupled with comprehensive package of an investment protection agreement, an agreement on geographical indications on which the negotiations will start, the EU-India economic relationship will skyrocket, and I'm sure about that. All of these initiatives and agreements underpin a further expansion of our already strong strategic relationship. It was really pleasure to listen to my colleagues how much was done since the last 18 months, how intensive period it was, and indeed also reflecting on these results and progress. We both know that by working together we both can only win and win more. Thank you.
Many thanks, Commissioner. Minister Goyal, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. Namaskar. Truly a pleasure to be back in Brussels for the third TTC ministerial meeting. This is a historical year in the ties between the EU and India. We concluded the mother of all trade deals, as Her Excellency Ms. von der Leyen called the EU-India Free Trade Agreement, and the events around the Republic Day celebrations in India, where we had Her Excellency Ms. von der Leyen, His Excellency Mr. Costa in India, were truly memorable. This free trade agreement is fair, equitable and balanced. Truly a win-win agreement for EU, businesses in EU, India, businesses and the people of India. The partnership between EU and India has come of age. Prime Minister Modi termed it a partnership for global good. Today's discussions reaffirmed our shared vision for an innovation-driven, trusted and future-ready growth partnership. In fact, the TTC today has become an important pillar of our engagement. The Working Group 3, which deals with matters around trade, has made steady and tangible progress. We have concluded a work program on foreign direct investment screening. We've exchanged best practices and will help further speed up flow of investments on both sides. The multilateral trading system is undergoing great turbulence around the world, and therefore our shared commitment to a rules-based, open, inclusive and non-discriminatory World Trade Organization will help us steer progress at the WTO in the future. The TTC has helped us move from discussions to delivery. Both EU and India are committed to de-risking our dependencies on certain critical areas. We are both committed to build reliable and diversified supply chains. We are committed to ensuring that our work is outcome-oriented, whether it is in market access, whether it is in harmonizing standards, working towards operationalizing key supply chain imperatives, and for greater collaboration in deep tech startups, innovation ecosystem, industrial partnerships, advanced manufacturing, connectivity, particularly with reference to global turbulence in this regard, and overall building strong partnerships through our global capability centers. I think it's important that areas like pharmaceuticals, healthcare and agri-food will also be important subjects to bring our two economies closer together. The Trade and Technology Council and the Free Trade Agreement are actually mutually reinforcing instruments. We are helping create the framework for greater trade and business through the Free Trade Agreement. We are actionating agenda items through the TTC to ensure that we bring the FTA to life as soon as we can. We look forward to witness the signing of the EU-India FTA later this year. Both the EU and India are committed to building upon the momentum that has been created, the momentum built on mutual trust and our shared vision to deliver mutually beneficial outcomes in a spirit of partnership, respect for the shared prosperity of businesses and the people of the European Union and India. In conclusion, Prime Minister Modi described India's growth story, and I quote, "Along with being a rising power, India is also a reliable power. India is not only fast-growing, but also a credible economy." Thank you very much.
Many thanks, Commissioner. Many thanks, Minister. Last, we call on Commissioner Zaharieva and Minister Prasada to say a few words. Commissioner, the floor is yours.
Good afternoon. It's a pleasure to welcome our dear friends, ministers and their team for the third TTC meeting. I'm not going to repeat what was said, but I'm going to focus on what we did deliver, because when we met in Delhi a year and a half ago, we agreed that we are going to make these meetings and TTCs really practical and the format that our citizens and our businesses can feel and actually understand why we have it. Since then, we actually agreed to start negotiations talk for Horizon Association of India. And we did set today a quite ambitious agenda that these talks are launched officially on 17th of July and hopefully to be concluded in the beginning of October. So India to be able to associate with Horizon as of beginning of 27. That's, I think, something that will really help us to develop together technologies of the future, because we in Europe believe that in open science, in scientific freedom, and we believe that we have to cooperate with our trusted partners for the benefits of the two sides of the ocean. Second, we actually established a new India startup partnership. The EU and India already have a thriving innovation ecosystem. We actually both host 500,000 tech startups. So 500,000 tech startups we host India and EU. What we want to create with these partnerships to connect those deep tech startups, to connect them with our corporations, and to help them to develop together technologies of the future, to attract investments, to find clients, to grow and to become global. So the third, was also mentioned, is EU-India Innovation Hub. It will focus on technologies for electric vehicles and testing. Actually, our goal is very simple. It's to align our standards. What does it mean? That it will contribute to the free trade agreement, then the producer of the two sides of the ocean to be able to access the market easier and faster. And last but not least, we are also mobilizing 60 million to invest in joint research innovation projects in areas that matter deeply to both Europe and India. This includes waste to renewable hydrogen, battery recycling for electric vehicles, and marine plastic pollution. I think the message that we want to deliver today is very clear. We are not just talking about cooperation, we are delivering this cooperation with concrete projects, with concrete investments, and step by step. So by doing so, we are doing so for benefits of our industries, of our competitiveness, of our supply chains, and mainly for our citizens and our young people. Thank you.
Many thanks. Minister, the floor is yours.
Thank you, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. It is a pleasure to be here today at the conclusion of the third ministerial meeting of the India-EU TTC. I am pleased to note that significant progress made under the Working Group 1 on strategic technologies, digital governance and digital connectivity. Our cooperation has increasingly moved towards an action-oriented and outcome-driven partnership, bringing together governments, industry, research institutions and innovation ecosystems from India and the European Union. Today, both sides have agreed on a forward-looking action plan for the year 26-27, which will guide our cooperation across strategic and emerging technologies. This reflects our shared commitment to deepen collaboration in research and innovation, strengthen trusted and resilient technology value chains, promote greater engagement between our industries, and develop digital solutions that deliver tangible benefits to our citizens and businesses. We have agreed to strengthen institutional and industry partnerships and create greater opportunities for joint research, technology development, and commercial collaboration. I am particularly pleased that our cooperation under Working Group 1 is increasingly translating into practical initiatives. The progress achieved in areas such as semiconductor cooperation, artificial intelligence, high-performance computing, and digital public infrastructure demonstrates that potential of our partnership. We will build upon these achievements by promoting stronger linkages between our research institutions, innovation ecosystems, and technology industries. We've also taken important steps towards building a more trusted and interconnected digital economy. The cooperation on electronic signatures and our discussions on interoperability of digital public infrastructure can facilitate trusted digital transactions, enable greater ease of doing business, and create new opportunities for citizens and enterprises on both sides. At the same time, we recognize that technology cooperation must ultimately benefit our people, delivering digital skills, connecting our talent and innovation ecosystems, and facilitating greater mobility of skilled professionals will remain important elements of our partnership. We also recognize the importance of working together in shaping the development and governance of emerging technologies. India and the European Union can make an important contribution towards building the global technology frameworks and standards that are open, trusted, interoperable, and responsive to the needs of our societies. The India-EU technology partnership is entering an important new phase. Our focus going forward will be on implementation and measurable outcomes. We want to translate our shared priorities into joint initiatives, research partnerships, industry collaboration, and technology solutions that strengthen our economies and contribute to global technological progress. The complementarities between India and the EU provide a strong foundation for such a partnership. By bringing together our capabilities, talent, industries, and innovation ecosystems, we can strengthen our collective technological competitiveness and build more resilient and diversified technology value chains. I am confident that the Working Group 1 will continue to serve as an important platform for advancing this shared vision and delivering concrete outcomes. India remains committed to working closely with the European Union to build a trusted, ambitious, and a future-oriented technology partnership that contributes to innovation, economic growth, and an inclusive, sustainable digital future. Thank you.
Many thanks, Minister. I'm pleased to inform you all that we have just published the joint statement from today's meeting along with our press release on our European Commission Press Corner. Ladies and gentlemen, we can now open the floor for your questions. If you could please state your name and media and to whom you are directing your question, to the Indian principles, to the European principles, or both. Kami. Wait for the microphone, please. Grab the mic there, Kami. Thank you.
Thanks so much. Hi, good afternoon. Camille Gaze from Politico. Thanks so much for this. So I had two questions, one on trade and one on AI, and I think for both the Indian principles and the European ones. So first on trade, I was wondering whether you could give us an update on the talks over investment protection and whether you expect to conclude negotiations this year still. On AI, I was also interested to know whether there was a possibility for the EU and India to join forces on the pre-deployment testing of AI models in the wake of the saga around Anthropic's Mythos. Thank you very much.
I think both the EU and India recognize the importance of an investment protection agreement to supplement the good work that has been done on the free trade agreement. We are both engaged and are desirous of concluding an investment protection agreement at an early date. The teams continue to discuss various aspects, and I do hope that we can conclude it hopefully before the end of the year, if not a little bit later. But I think deadlines are not as important as the intention.
So I would fully concur with my Indian counterpart. I would only add that we both are very much interested in increasing the flow of investment both to India and from India to the European Union. And we hear from our businesses that, of course, investment and protection agreement will give them additional reassurance, additional certainty, and therefore we are doing our utmost to deliver also on this goal, and we also share the goal that we'll do our utmost to do it by the end of the year.
For the AI question.
You good?
Yeah, when it comes to AI, European Union and India, we are very much sharing the same vision that we want to have trustworthy and human-centric AI. And also security and safety risks we are addressing together. So our AI Office of the European Union is working together with the Indian AI Safety Institution. And of course, that kind of topics, that what kind of new security and safety risks very capable models are posing. Of course, these are things we have to address globally with our partners. But especially on AI, the fields where we are now focusing with India, it's about developing really our own capacity in AI and developing our own frontier models. So we are looking how we could also join our forces in when it comes to computing capacity, to give better possibilities for our businesses and researchers to have joint projects to train and develop AI. And another field is really to support our public sector and businesses to adopt AI. And especially interesting field now for both of us is a healthcare part. So to look how we could use healthcare AI really to also to give better services in healthcare side. And this is now one of the areas where we will focus in our AI cooperation with India.
Yeah, as far as AI goes, I reiterate what has been said, where there are so many commonalities between the Indian AI mission and the way EU is going ahead with AI. And with keeping that in mind, we want the same trusted, inclusive, and non-biased AI movement forward. And we have discussed in detail as to the future roadmap for AI, given the commonalities and the complementarities between India and EU. As far as safety goes, which has been outlined, India recognizes that emerging AI technologies require appropriate safeguards against misuse, including deepfakes, misinformation, and harmful synthetic content. The government in India is working with stakeholders, technology companies, researchers, and international partners to develop effective approaches for transparency, accountability, user awareness, and responsible AI practices. The Safe and Trusted AI pillar in India focuses on enabling the responsible development, deployment, and adoption of AI through indigenous government framework tools and standards tailored to India's socio-economic and cultural context. The India AI has established the AI Safety Institute. 13 projects have been selected across various themes, from bias mitigation to machine unlearning to privacy-preserving AI, explainability, algorithm auditing, deepfake detection, risk management AI, bias evaluation, and generative AI security. So as far as AI, the way it's evolving so fast and so rapid, internationally we have to keep in mind the cyber security, cyber threats aspect. For that, consistent collaboration across the world is India's way forward, and that's where we are headed.
Many thanks for your responses. Next question to the gentleman here, please. It should be on automatically.
Nawab Khan, Brussels-based journalist from India. I have two short but sweet questions. One is for our Minister, Mr. Prasada, and the second one for anyone from the EU side would like to answer. My first question is that how were the key achievements of the AI Impact Summit held in February in Delhi? And how do you see that this cooperation with the EU will impact globally? And my second question is for anybody who would like to answer from the side. Today, the Indian semiconductor mission was launched. Only today I read. Given that the EU has the CHIPS Act too, how can the two sides work together in the area of semiconductors? Thank you.
So, now as far as your question related to the Impact Summit in New Delhi this year, I can say it was a truly historic summit that India pulled off. And the achievements of that AI Impact Summit, I can briefly outline to you. It was the largest global AI summit and the first hosted by a global South country, bringing 22 state government heads, over 100 plus countries' participation, and major AI companies. The summit shifted the global AI agenda from aspiration to implementation, with over 550 pre-summit events across 30 countries. The summit declaration, endorsed by 92 countries and international organizations, reflecting a rare global consensus on AI. The New Delhi Frontier AI Impact Commitment, signed by 13 leading AI models developers, adoption of 12 concrete deliverables across 7 work streams covering AI governance, resilient AI infrastructure, equitable AI transition and inclusion, and announcements of over $250 billion USD in AI investments across the global AI value chain. The European Union actively participated in all 7 working groups, underscoring the strength of the India-EU AI partnership. India, France, and UNESCO jointly launched the Resilient AI Challenge, showcasing the power of the multilateral collaboration for sustainable AI. And as far as your question with regard to the semiconductor mission, I can tell you it is one of the most ambitious programs of the Government of India, with the ISM 1.0 had an outlay of about $10 billion. And today, the Union Cabinet in India has just announced the ISM 2 has been cleared, and it has a total outlay of approximately $13.25 billion US. And in the first tranche of ISM 1, we had 12 projects on ground, from fab manufacturing to ATMP packaging to design. And now we want to take it a step further to ensure that the whole ecosystem of semiconductors is based in India, with equipments, with materials, with the supply chains. So I can tell you that the new launch has been with regard, and the focus has been on design. Design of chips will get thrust, machines and materials, support to R&D of machines and manufacturing of materials, chemicals, gases, essentials for semiconductor manufacturing, setting up more fabs, more manufacturing will come to India, further centering our ATMP OSAT packaging networks, R&D for semiconductors, and above all, talent development will also be the new thrust of the ISM2 in India announced today.
Yes, thank you very much. And when it comes to this AI Impact Summit in Delhi, I think it was a great success to summit, and I want to congratulate the hosts because it was a big event, and first time now the focus in the discussions was on that how we can make sure that everybody is having access to these technologies, because we see that this is crucial, critical technology of the future, and it's very important that we are also supporting different countries to really have access to this technology, and also that our citizens, our population can really benefit on these technologies, that we are using AI for good. And I think this is something that we very much share the vision with India, that we want, that we have technology that is benefiting our economies, our societies, our population, and our citizens can trust these technologies, and we are doing this in a sustainable manner. With the semiconductors, we see that India is a very important partner for European Union. Like it was said, our CHIPS Act 2.0 was just adopted in June, and there we are especially focusing now to better resilience of our supply chains. And it means that we want to build up our own capacity in the European Union, but we also want to work with our trusted partners, because we know that semiconductor industry is something that is very global, and also the supply chains, they are very long. One chip is often traveling thousands of kilometers, and of course that kind of supply chains are also very vulnerable. So it's important to build better resilience for these supply chains, to make sure that we are not dependent on one source, that we have alternatives also, and we have our own capacity. And then when it comes to research and development of the new chips, of course, India is also a very important partner for us, because we know that India is having a very big pool of very highly skilled talents in India.
Many thanks. We have time for one last question from Frédéric.
Yes, Frédéric Pouchot, Agence France Presse, AFP. I have a question for Minister Jaishankar and Commissioner Šefčovič on steel, which I think was one of the most contentious areas for the free trade agreement negotiations. Are you both happy with the compromise that was achieved? Or do you see room for improvement in the future, considering the strategic importance of the sector for both economies? And also, if I can, on the WTO reform, do you think India and EU could work more closely to bring reform and help tackle world imbalances in trade? Thank you.
So thank you very much for this question. I think that the new quality of relationship between the European Union and India is clearly reflected also in the fact that we spent together as much time as necessary to find a constructive solution, and this clearly we found also on the steel sector. And I particularly appreciate understanding of our Indian friends that Europe goes through very difficult period if it comes to the steel production. I believe that we both suffer from the global overcapacity, which is currently 7 times more than the consumption of the steel in the European Union. And over the last 10 years, we lost almost 100,000 jobs and one third of our capacity. So therefore, we had to go through this very, very, very complex and very difficult process. And therefore, we very much appreciate the agreement we found with our Indian counterparts. And of course, this was very important part of our negotiations when we were discussing also the free trade agreement, and we see a lot of potential for cooperation also in the future in different aspects of all industrial potential which India and European Union share together. We spent with Minister Goyal very intense 4 days, if I recall, in Yaoundé during the last MC14 ministerial. We've been both hoping for more progress there. I think that what we are focusing on right now is to create the most conducive environment for our ambassadors in Geneva. I believe that India will have a very important presentation there next week. What is, I would say, the priority for the European Union, and I believe that this is also to a great extent shared by our Indian partners, is that we just want to see more balance in the rights and obligation if it comes to the WTO. Simply, the world since 1995 has changed dramatically. The countries which at that time been delivering only a small share of the global economy are today in totally different position, and therefore we believe that also the rights and obligation within the WTO framework should be put into the current context and reflects the current reality, and that's something what we are working very hard on. You probably are familiar that we've been presenting 3 important submissions in the course of the last 10 days, and I think they very much reflect the way how you would like to see the new reformed WTO work. Last sentence I would say on this one is that having seen all these turbulences and unpredictability on the global trade market, I think this just underlines how important it is to have a solid legal framework, modernize rules for global trading, and clearly, I would say, the prevalence of rule of law in this system, because this is what protects fairness, this is what gives the certainty and predictability to our economic operators, and therefore we'll be working very hard on reforming WTO. Thank you.
I think the issues around the steel measures were known to us before we concluded the free trade agreement. And as I mentioned earlier, the free trade agreement reflects an equitable and balanced outcome, which covers a wide spectrum of subjects, including steel. And obviously, when you're negotiating, there are trade-offs looking at the sensitivities of different countries. And I think we've been able to come to a very balanced outcome, including the steel measures. The EU has recently come out with their quotas that they have declared in the steel measures. And broadly, India is well in alignment in terms of ensuring that global trade in steel remains fair and gives opportunity for all countries to take care of their steel production capacities, just as India is ensuring that we take care of our steel manufacturers. In terms of the WTO, clearly we stand for the core principles on which the WTO was founded. That included consensus in decision making. It included ensuring SNDT, where the less developed or developing economies are given different responsibilities than the developed world. And I think it's important that the rules of fair trade are respected by all countries. Many of us in the WTO are concerned about predatory pricing, unfair trading practices, and other measures, tariff and non-tariff measures, which are not allowing equitable trade among certain geographies. And we do hope the WTO will come up to the expectations of the world and meet the requirements of equal opportunity, fair opportunity, and ensure that the global south or the less developed and developing countries get a fair opportunity for inclusive growth for their people. Thank you.
Many thanks to all our principals. Thank you for joining us in person and online. This concludes our press conference. Have a good evening. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in person and online for this press conference, which follows the third meeting of the EU-India Trade and Technology Council. The choreography will be as follows. We will have introductory remarks. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us in person and online for this press conference, which follows the third meeting of the EU-India Trade and Technology Council. The choreography will be as follows. We will have introductory remarks from our three European principals, our three Indian principals, after which we will open the floor for a brief round of questions. So we will begin with EVP Virkkunen. EVP, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everybody. Today we held our third Trade and Technology Council with India. Since 2023, the EU and India have been working together across key areas of trade and technology. We have become key partners for one another, working together across strategic technologies, digital governance and connectivity. And more than ever, we are seeing the importance of our strategic partnership, whether that be for technology, trade or security. We are reinforcing our tech sovereignty in a way that is